where within our society we're bombarded by all three of them, and we continuously, like, whether we try and help it or not, we're socially conditioned into a lot of ideas of how we think, how we interact, how women are supposed to be perceived, how men are supposed to be perceived, and the materials that we crave, what we urge, and like if we even like chocolate. Do we like chocolate? Maybe not. Like, it's these commercials in this like world that we live in, where a lot of our consumerism has like eaten away at us and like sort of created who we are. And so like my work is within the framework of art itself and like the whole history of art, whereas specifically painting itself, where I appropriate other artists' work, or let alone actually their information itself. I'll just bring in the knowledge that I've been researching and sharing it with everybody else, so that I'm not the only one hoarding this, and it's sort of like a community growth. And within like a lot of the work, there's like a certain symbolism to a lot of the materials. Like stickers themselves are not really a medium of, I would say, the art community. Like stickers, you would imagine they're used for like kids and this like kitschy, sort of relaxing fun thing that they would do to waste time. But like a lot of it actually plays into our lives. Like if you're brought up on using these stickers on a regular basis, your perceptions of how you are in the world or what the world is influenced by these materials. And I specifically use a lot of like feminine materials, like, or gendered materials, in the sense where you don't see boys playing with Hello Kitty on TV commercials, because they're not marketed to little boys. They're marketed to little girls. And a lot of the like colorful play, saturated like medium itself, within the acrylic, plays on that idea of like, we get hit by this all the time. We walk down the street, you have flashing billboards that have brighter colors than you have ever seen in nature. There's no such thing as those colors. And a lot of these colors are made within our time frame. Like, they're really contemporary. Like, we wouldn't have them 50 years ago because we just want to keep progressing beyond our natural setting. And the idea that even though we are progressing, we think it might be natural, but it's sort of like an idea that has grown within inside of us. So, but that's pretty much like a roundabout talk about like what my work is about. Is there any questions?
So can you talk a little bit about this installation area back here and how you anticipate or invite people to use and interact with the area?
Well, the installation here is basically, it's a two-leveled installation, and both the under platform, which I like sort of deem as like the foundation, like you would have a structure on top of your foundation, and this is like the foundation of my research in the art community and the art world, like when it comes to literature, art history, magazine articles within that, and how they influence my work is within there. So like instead of making a direct appropriation, I'm inviting you to open it up and be like, okay, now you're making the connections. I'm stepping away a little bit so that the audience and the viewers are able to start looking at the rest of the work and finding the links that I might not have found, or ones that are completely obvious. And then on the second floor is a movie I worked on. It's called Reality TV, and it's basically within this glass mirrored room. So when you step in there, you shut the door, and you're basically illuminated by this television show. And it's reality TV. It's as boring and as real as it can be. I'm just basically painting that little steps ladder. There's no soundtrack. There's nothing. Like, we don't have any of these superfluous, like, extraneous things that we see in blockbuster films, or even on reality TV itself. Like, when you watch television, there is no little alcove cubbyhole where I can be like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. What's going on? And tell the world. It's boring. We find our own excitement within our own lives. And so within it, there's commercials that are dealing, like they're American Express commercials, the idea of like our own economy. We are influenced by it, and yet there's a big cut between our reality and what's projected to us. And that's why, like, when you watch the film, it's basically, you'll get more intrigued and excited about the commercials because they're candy coated. They're meant to be that appealing. And I just tried to bear down everything else and just show you, like, I'm in my studio. It's not the greatest place ever. I might not have heat, but I'm just working just like everybody else. So, and the hopes are that, like, you would, when you go around it, you realize there's sort of this history of art that's within ourselves, within our advertising world, within everything, and it correlates into the stuff that's the commercials and the video that's upstairs. So my goal is hopefully that you can sit within there. You can, like, engage, open up the books there for everybody to look at. There, from my private collection, there's even some tidbits and notes, and, like, you'll find things where I've, like, highlighted over and over and over and be like, that's so important. But it might not be important to you. It's out there as a treasure trove for everybody to find what's important to themselves. Questions?
Can you tell us a little bit about the text?
Well, the text, it's like it says, it's supposed to be seductive. It basically says, warn us of the seduction of media offerings and expose the detachment of contemporary experience from natural experience. It's a declaration of sort of, hey, it's an epiphany where you look back and you're looking at your life and you think, did I really think, my, like, vision of the world, is that natural, or is it something that was completely created by everything else? And what is our own definition of natural? Like, we skew the idea of natural within our own foods in order for us to feel better about ourselves. And so by hiding some of the truth might actually come out. Like, by using the media that we have around us, the Christmas tree lights, which are completely lowbrow, something that, like, aren't associated with art, but they have this, like, visual appeal that you just, like, fall in love with. Because I know I've driven down the roads and watched the houses blink and, like, stop and stare at them, but do we really know what's underneath the blinking? The actual house, it might be a broken home. It might be something that the sugar coating is protecting from everybody else to see. Oh, the installation, all of this?
Well, in general, you know,
or the work
brainstorming to actually knowing, I'm done with this exhibit. I think this has been completed and it's ready for me to expose it to the public.
Besides the obvious of a lifetime, I started this work, like the work that's in here, about a year ago. Like, each piece takes on its own, like, amount of time it takes to get done. Like, some pieces took a day, but it took months of formulating and figuring out what it's supposed to be before I even executed it. And some pieces, it took not even a day to, like, figure out what needs to be said and what the object is. And it took months to execute the actual plan, all the way down to little details and drawings and frustrations that go with it. But it's accumulatively, it's about a year's worth of work.